Okay, so for the first part of this video, before I go into the gameplay of the Confederate side, I'm just going to discuss all of the things I've learned about this scenario from both sides, because yesterday I played the scenario about 5 times. Almost all the matches were back to back. I think I had dinner halfway through after the first 3 rounds. All against the AI, of course, and then I spent some time using the hot seat function to play both sides to test some stuff out. But yeah, okay. That's I'm just gonna talk about everything I've learned so far. So this scenario probably is like the best design that I've played so far. I haven't played Chattanooga or the Spotsylvania or Wilderness yet, but up to this point in the game, if you play each battle in sequence, this one is definitely the most dynamic. So the first thing you need to take into account is that on the board, both HQs are already deployed and they're both in battle mode. And this basically kind of teaches one of the more nuanced mechanics regarding the division activation. Now, I was under the impression, because in the Chancellorsville scenario, I only came across this when I was trying to bring Second Corps off map into Entry Hex I. Uh, they weren't in range of any of the command radiuses for the HQ counters. And when I read the rules, I thought that the way it works is that if you have a division that's outside the command radius, you have to activate it, and then it has to end its movement within the command radius for it to be a legal move. That's incorrect. As you can see here, um, you can actually move units that are way out of the command radius. So you can see here are the command radiuses for the Confederate HQ counter, Bragg, and Rosecrans. They're basically focused around this area right here in the middle. So if I select Bragg, and I select this division over here, Breckenridge, you can still move him up until about here. And we've got no more moves, and you end the move, and it's still a legal move. That's because once you reread the rules, it doesn't say anything about having to end the turn within the command radius. All it says is that it needs to end its turn closer to the HQ that's activating it, and that's it. So this is still a legal move, so long as when the division activation ends closer to the HQ from where it started, that's a legal move. And I think it's genius because of how this scenario is made. Both HQs are deployed in battle mode, and they're both right next to, well, both opposite each other on this creek, Chickamauga River. Um, so both armies, you can see, are spread out. They're deploying to this battlefield here that is south of. Actually, I'm not sure what the orientation of the map is, but Chattanooga is here, and yeah, over here basically. Um, I think in my previous videos I was just arbitrarily talking about which side was north, south, or whatever. I think all the directions I gave in that was like wrong, but I'm just gonna work off the orientation of the map that you're looking at from here. But yeah, all the forces have to deploy, and they have to concentrate here into the middle of the map. This means that you are limited in what you can do and how you can maneuver for the first turn at least. And I'll get into more detail later on when I talk about both side strategies. But this is important to discuss because it basically does affect, because there's only 5 turns in the scenario. It is a very short scenario, and every turn counts. I'm pretty sure at turn 4, I'll come when I start commentating the Confederate side. I'll explain how like each turn in this scenario at least compared to like Chancellorsville where you can sort of make a mistake or have a more delayed maneuver for a turn or two. Not the case in this scenario. So yeah, that's regarding unit activation and HQ command radiuses. So we'll start off with the strategic objectives. So for the Confederates, they need to have a path from entry hex D to Chattanooga. Entry hex D is here. Chattanooga is all the way here. The road that they are most likely to take, because it has to be within 50 hexes, is along the middle. So it's within the Confederates' interest to force all the Union forces that are in the middle here away. because this is the easiest victory condition that they can reach. Actually, I think this is one of the only ones. I guess if you can push the Union army further to the bottom here, there's a shorter route, but the roads that run right through the middle of the map, that one is it's a solid win condition. That's the one that I achieve in the gameplay replay that I'm about to show. So that's what the Confederates need to do. The Union achieves their strategic victory by securing the railroad from this entry hex here, the Ringgold. This is the Confederate entry hex, but the town is called Ringgold. This railroad line that runs down on the left side of the map here all the way to Chattanooga, if they can secure that, they win. Now there's an extra caveat here. If both sides achieve their strategic victory conditions, the rebels' condition takes priority. So in the case of a tie, the rebels win. So, from my point of view, from what I've played, from the Confederates' point of view side, if they want to have the best chance at a strategic win, they want to force the engagement in the middle here as early as possible. And then what they want to do is bring in Hood's corps down on this left side here, and if they manage to force the engagement, the main engagement in this area where I'm looking at here, that allows them to isolate these divisions and detachments. Well, not detachments. Detachments you can kill very early on. I'll get back to that later. But these divisions that are on this side here, if you can isolate them, Hood's corps is more than enough to wipe them out. Usually. So that's the main Confederate strategy that I found, that if you want to go for the strategic win, at least you want to push it all the way there. That's the way you want to go. Now, on the flip side for the Union, it's the exact opposite. They do not want an engagement here. They do not want to get clogged down here because their army is still not yet deployed. The Confederates are a little bit more concentrated. They want to get as many of their guys in here. And what they want to do is they want to push on the left side here to reach the railroad. And they want to flank around the Confederates on this flank here. And in order to do that, because Hood's corps has all got a few more battle stars than most of the Union forces, which are spread out, you really want to concentrate your forces to get in around this side and get here. So it's like it's like a revolving kind of door. The Confederates want to push down on this right side here, whilst the Union wants to push on the left side here, and each side is trying to get around on one other side. Now the thing here is, right, that these maneuvers are all restricted by the HQ command radiuses. So for example, the Confederates can't actually do what I've said that they want to do because they all have to move to Bragg's HQ. So I think with the exception of Cleburne's division, who has the furthest to go, and it starts at an angle to the bottom of the map here. Yeah, it's very hard to interdict the Union forces as the Confederates because they all have to move to the left, can't move down. Now, for the Union, they have a problem. If they want to swing their forces off to the left here, they need to use these roads. And the way the terrain here for these really dark hexes, these slopes, if you try to use the roads to go up these slopes, you automatically switch into battle formation, which is not ideal. So it means for the first turn, and remember, time is a very important factor because there's only 5 turns. The best way you want to enact this left maneuver is you need to use this road right here, which is this junction. It's the best way to get all of your forces deployed around this end here so that you can utilize the rest of the roads to get in and behind. If you don't do that and you wait another turn, there really isn't actually much room to do that because of all these slopes here. You will be forced into battle formation. This is really the most crucial part of the map. So what I found, and I gamed it out by playing both sides, it's in the Union's best interest, the Confederates' best interest, to place one of their divisions into one of these hexes here, 2522 and 2523. If you do that, actually I should be able to show that here. Let me just pass off the Union's turn. Yep, get the Confederates and put it here. Show zone of influence. If you manage to put a division on either of these sides, and remember the Confederates go first, you basically prevent the Union from fully deploying onto the left side. And they will get into this position pretty much every time, I believe. Oh, you know what? I think oh, if you use Wood's division, I think you might be able to prevent this. One. Oh, no. You still be one turn too late. But I'll revisit that later on. But this position right here is extremely important because the moment you exert your zone of influence over this hex right here, you can basically stop the Union army from maneuvering as fast as possible. And if you, because your army is a little bit more concentrated, and you are still forced by what I said, forced to maneuver towards the HQ, you can deploy your troops much faster, pass off the turn, and then the Union is kind of stuck in the mud. That is what I've found out so far. I may need to revisit this part here. Actually, you know what? I'll do that now. Why not? Okay, so Confederate first turn. I'm gonna move over here, pass it off. Let me switch off the zone of controls. Union. Nah, you'd still be one turn too late. You can't prevent Hindman's division from reaching 2523, and once it reaches that, this junction over here, yeah, is done for. It doesn't mean that you are lost. It's just that the AI is incapable of doing any of these calculations, and in order to play this out, I have to play both sides, and I don't think playing both sides is like a good idea because I know what each side is doing. In which case, then I don't think it's fair because I'd be biased to one side if I'm trying to make the plan work or to show it. Playing this game two player really is where it's going to make it shine, but so far I've only seen like two videos on YouTube of people playing it two player. One of them is a learn to play video with Mark Herman himself, where they're learning the system on this scenario. And the other one was a after action report. It was like 10, 11 minutes long that showed the aftermath of the battle as it finished, not how it was being played. He did go step by step of how it was being played, but I found it a little bit hard to follow uh, what the decisions were during the game, how it actually looked. So yeah, there is that. Any more other strategic considerations I'll discuss in the replays. I'll Since I've already recorded both the games already, I'll see if I can upload them quite fast. But yeah. Okay, so Confederates turn one. This is the first time I played the scenario. This is the very first out of the 5 matches that I played yesterday. So you're gonna see what I would consider, in my opinion, some mistakes because of what I described earlier in the intro. I only start figuring these things out during this scenario and then in the scenarios after this, once I play from the Union side. So you're not going to see me do what I said before, where I move Hindman's division into 2 hexes to the left to prevent first. I figured that out, I think, 2 activations into the turn. So first, all I'm thinking right now is trying to deploy on the river and try to eliminate those 2 detachments that are out there. I don't like the position of the leftmost detachment because you can't actually really save it. The only way you save it is by good die rolls. But yeah, the Confederates do start with a slightly better opening, in my opinion, just because of the ability to stop the Union from fully deploying very early on. They force them into deploying early, and they can snipe one of the detachments to get a victory point very early on, assuming the die rolls are all averaged out. It is possible to save them both if you roll very well, which we will see in the Union playthrough in the next video. Some weird things happen. But right now I'm still deliberating, like, okay, how am I going to do this? And yeah, I'm going for the detachments first. Deploy the cavalry, try and knock out that cavalry detachment over there. It's best not to use the cavalry for this because you have quite a lot of time as the Confederates. It's not a major mistake. You're not going to lose the game if you do this. But the really bad move that I make in this first turn is moving the leftmost cavalry division. Can't remember what the name is. I'll put it in the post edit. You don't want to utilize them in the first turn. You want to save them because you can use them to capture Chattanooga by wiping out the Union detachment that's in Chattanooga itself by flanking around. The Union can't really do much. Well, from what the AI has shown, you can. Maybe if you're a real player, you might be able to do something. You probably will be able to do something. Yeah, but yeah, you wanna use your cavalry to flank around on the far left side straight into Chattanooga and get in there first. Wipe out the detachment there. I'm not entirely sure the detachment there exerts the zone of control on the hexes that count towards the. I think it does. I think you have to knock that guy out if you are the Confederates. Otherwise, they prevent your strategic win condition. But yeah, so you're seeing here first 3 activations or so. I'm not interdicting that junction that's at the bottom of the screen there with Heineman's division. But we'll get to that soon. And of course, it doesn't really matter because you're playing against the AI. What I've learned is if you're up on VPs when you get to the last turn, the AI will just commit suicide. It will just launch frontal attacks all across the front because it knows that it's losing and it needs to do something. What I've also found by playing through the last scenario that I played through, which I didn't record, the AI can't tell if you have achieved your strategic win condition. I think I was playing as the Union, and the AI was up by 1 VP, and I had fulfilled my strategic win condition and denied the Confederates their strategic win condition. So we were winning basically. But on the VP's point of side, the AI didn't see that. It only saw the score, in which case they were winning. So when it got to the last turn, they didn't commit suicide. They just sat there and I won. So that's AI limitations for you. So going back to the game here, I've already moved the Heineman's division. I moved it a little bit closer to the, what's that hex called? The mills. Yeah. So you don't really need to get that close, but we have. And it's around about here I start realizing, oh damn, I can't actually move these guys further down towards the bottom of the map because of how the HQ command radiuses are. So now I'm thinking, well, if I need to defend this road, if you're the Union, all you need to do is push up the map and you can cut the roads very easily. Of course, they can't do that this turn because I still haven't quite figured out that, oh, they can only maneuver by moving their forces towards the HQ. They can't do any flanking maneuvers right now. So yeah, it was you learned a lot about the nuances for the activation and movement mechanics in this scenario. But I don't figure that out until after, well, during and after this match that you're seeing. So now I'm just trying to deploy and spread out my forces to try to protect some of the roads, well, most of the roads. Yeah, I should not have pushed this guy this far forward. I should have left him out on the further right where he was. Just leave him there. You will see me double back here towards the end of the game. I get on the heights and the more defensive terrain hexes, and then, like I said, at the end of the game, sorry, force the AI to attack me and then just kill themselves. But you will see what is more interesting and more practical matters for learning this scenario, at least. I will manage to turn the Union left flank with Hood's Corps, and when Longstreet gets in the game, right? So on turn 4, Longstreet enters the match. You remove Bragg, and Longstreet takes over. And Longstreet has 2 battle stars. So on turn 4, you have a turn where you have a very big tactical advantage. That's the turn where you want to push hard on whichever flank that you're attacking. You bring in Longstreet. You usually want to save your artillery markers for turn 4 and turn 5 for when these battles start happening. And on that one turn, push as hard as possible on whichever flank, if hopefully you've isolated one of the flanks, and use Hood's Corps with its 2 divisions with battle stars to push hard and get some eliminations. That's what happens here, and I've done that in the subsequent playthroughs as the Confederates on this side. But that happens at a later turn. Right now, all we're doing is just trying to maneuver, and we're about to start maneuvering Hood's Corps down to eliminate the leftmost detachment out there. Let me fast forward a little bit here. Yeah, so we're maneuvering down. As I said before, the mistake that I make here is maneuvering that cavalry division as to the most left. You just want to leave it there so that you can maneuver using the road that goes to the north. Go north. Well, I'm not entirely sure what the orientation of the map is, but go up the map and then to the left, and then use the railroad line to get into Chattanooga. That's the best way to use that cavalry division, in my opinion, so far, from playing the game 5 times in a row. So here you can see that I'm not familiar with this just yet. I only figured this out after. You really want to use the other road to maneuver Hood's Corps down and leave the cavalry alone on this side. Because remember, the HQ radius still works on this left side here. The Union can't maneuver these 2 infantry divisions further up the map. They have to gravitate towards the middle because it's only 5 hexes. So it wasn't in much of I thought that I had to move on. I had to press this side very fast, but I didn't have to. The Confederates are in a much better position on this flank here. So those are the mistakes being made there. Fast forward just a little bit to the final position. It's the last division from Hood's Corps coming down the road now. So yeah, we fixed the Union Army in the middle. There's 2 separate engagements on the Chickamauga River, and the rest of the Union Army is already force deployed on the far right there. So they're gonna have to walk through the forest to try get into to engage us along the road that we need to secure to get our strategic win. So now we start attacking the detachments. I think I roll quite poorly. Oh no, this one we go right. So there, we're up 1 victory point straight off the bat. I think I roll poorly for the next detachment attack here. I think the cavalry is forced to retreat. So we're up by 7 to their 1. We can't use artillery support because it's a cavalry division. But then the HQ. Yeah, we roll very, very poorly. So we are forced to retreat. I'm not sure if I use the infantry division to attack. About to find out, I suppose. 7 to 4. Yeah, we go in. Oh, we choose not to use the artillery. I think it would have been best to do that, actually. But we get the kill anyway. So now we're up 2 victory points. So, if we just sit here, if you're playing as the AI, that is, if we just sit here until the end of the game, they will just recklessly attack all across the line, and then you would automatically win an operational victory. There's no doubt about that. But we are going for the strategic win, so there's that. So we're going on to turn 2 now, rolling for first turn and rolling for HQ redeployments. And yeah, okay. I need to go to the next recording for this, so I'll see you in a second. Okay, so with turn 2, we've deployed the HQs. I've deployed my HQ further to the middle, which is a little bit of a mistake. You want to do it more to the left so that you can execute the cavalry flanking maneuver that I discussed earlier to go into Chattanooga straight away, eliminate the detachment there, because that's another free, easy victory point that you can get. And I was too concerned with trying to secure the road on the right side here, which you don't really need to really concern yourself with this early on. But that's what's happening now. So I'm trying to concentrate my forces along this forest here, along the road. And the Union's just gonna march right into us. But they won't attack. They won't attack until the end of the game. So there's that. I've already started moving Kleben's division. I think that's what it's called. The one that's on the furthermost right that you can see on the ridge there. It's got a battle star. Uh, this unit I move at the very end after the unit has passed, or if I'm already maneuvered all of my forces. This is the last unit that I'm going to start moving. And what I usually do with them is put them on the ridge that's just north of the Union concentration. It's a very good defensive hex there. You just put them on that, and they can hold that terrain. So on the other side, yep, still maneuvering Hood's Corps. So we've got the mismatch in forces on the left flank here, and we want to push that as hard as possible. I'm not sure at what point I start maneuvering the cavalry to get around to the side. I think it's the next turn, but we'll see. We'll find out. I've managed to put a Confederate detachment that's already on the other side of the Chickamauga River. We've just relieved it with that infantry move, that activation just now. And now we're trying to get across the river, get some mismatches, and try to eliminate these divisions one at a time. So there's the Union still maneuvering on the right, trying to push forward. I'll skip a little bit here. Yeah, so we've fixed most of the Union forces now. Yep, they've just walked right into our divisions. Now we're maneuvering Kleben's division to the ridge over there. They've passed off, last chance moves. So this position right here, that hex right there, we're just gonna let them sit there and cover the roads leading up to that point. And now we've got 4 more moves on turn 2 to maneuver here. I think it's around about this point I realized maybe I can use the cavalry to do some wide flanking maneuvers. But to do that, I need to get that division on the road. And yeah, we now start the grand flank. Yeah, I can't move it any further forward. So I think I pass it off here. We'll fast forward to the next turn. So we pass off the turn. We just had one attack that went poorly. We get a division blown, but that's about it. So now we're on to turn 3. And choosing to deploy. I'm pretty sure I put Bragg in maneuver mode on the far left side. Well, I should. That's what should happen. That's what I recall. Yeah. Because I know I've already fixed the Union on the right. Do I really need to do any more fancy maneuvers on that side? AI is not going to attack this early. So I can gamble a little bit here. Just checking all of the positions where to place. I'll fast forward a little bit. Yep. So that's the final placement for Bragg's HQ. And now we start the grand maneuvers. So Hood's Corps is about to wipe out that Union infantry division that's fixed right in the middle of the map. And both the cavalry divisions are about to swing far left and around. I've placed an extra Confederate detachment on the ridges just outside Chattanooga. That's to prevent that lone Union division that's been sitting on the far left to the bottom of the map there. Prevent them from trying to intercept my cavalry that's going to go into Chattanooga. Force them to deploy into prematurely in front of a ridge. So here comes the cavalry. There's a special hex here that hill. There's a railroad that goes into the hill, so you can still do that move that I did there. It's mentioned in the scenario rules. And there we go. We are engaged. Skip a little bit to forward. So now we start moving the infantry divisions because we've outflanked the Union division there. It's just a matter of time to get all our guys into proper positions. So now I'm just checking across the line. We've already moved into the attack phase. We pass it off. It's the next turn that we start the fights. So we're up to 3 victory points. Union have 0. We're redeploying the HQs, and Bragg has been relieved. Longstreet and Polk are now in play, and this is where the real fun begins. Turn 4. So we've got a reinforcement of an extra cavalry division coming in from the right side. I think I forget about it. I completely forgot that I get reinforcements, but it doesn't play that big of a deal into the overall scenario. All the main moves to win the scenario have already been made. It's just in this turn is where all the action happens. Is where we push hard with our infantry division to start eliminating some dudes. So we put Longstreet right in the middle there. In battle mode, Polk is taking the right flank. He's deployed there in battle mode. I'm deliberating whether to use my last detachment anywhere. There's no real need. We've already outflanked the enemy and there's not much they can do. Fast forward a little bit here. So I opt to disengage that infantry division over there because I've already fixed them with the other infantry division from Hood's Corps. And what I'm going for is to try and eliminate 3 Union infantry divisions, all the ones that are on the left flank here. So I'm cycling the units here, trying to get the mismatches. They pass off, last chance moves. So that's one fight there. We've got 3 divisions surrounding 1 Union. And then on the other side, we are just gonna wait next to that open hex there. We're gonna take our time basically, and we'll visit them in the next turn. It's only the next turn that the Union get Thomas, the commander, with 2 stars. So I don't think I quite understood that just yet when I was playing this replay here. But yeah, I should have been a little bit more aggressive on this turn because I have Longstreet and not any real opposition. So I'm gonna relieve that detachment that I deployed there earlier. The AI can't actually do anything because they're spread out too far. In order for that division to move towards Chattanooga, they need to deploy their HQ much closer, which isn't happening. So we take the ridge there, or the hill. I'm not entirely sure what the terms are for the differences between the hexes which force you to deploy if you go up the slope. I should read that. But anyway, battle begins. We have an extra diable modifier base, but we're gonna start using all our artillery and Longstreet. And there, first kill for that, eliminated. And now the next turn we can fall in on the rear of those 2 Union infantry divisions that are still on the river. So we're on turn 5 now, and we are deploying our HQs again. The Union get their second commander in play. Now they've deployed on the left side, and I'm going to try and challenge this for Chattanooga there. I bet it's too little too late. They don't have enough units or momentum to do anything about that. So right now we do not have the strategic win condition. We've managed to get, well, no, we need one more VP to get an operational win. We're in a tactical victory right now. We have superior position. We're in a much better uh, deployment compared to the Union. And what I'm trying to do right now is just get more points and push our lead forward. The victory just comes by the AI committing suicide in the last turn here. So I'll fast forward here to the envelopments. Yeah, so we have these guys enveloped. And on the other side, we're just going to reform our lines with our divisions, just making a nice, neat line. And then, yeah, okay. The attacks begin. We've already eliminated one of the Union divisions in the middle there. And now the Union is just rolling and throwing everything they have at us. Yep. And they're gonna roll really badly for 2 or 3 of these attacks. And basically they eliminate their own divisions in these attacks against our boys in the forest. This is our last voluntary attack here. Try to eliminate this guy over here. We don't get good rolls because we're slightly out of position, so they have an advantage of 2 modifiers, but we roll really well, and they're gone. That's the end of that. Our cavalry near Chattanooga actually eliminates that infantry division because they come and attack us, and we roll really well. And yeah, it's the same story that happens across the entire front here. Force a retreat. Pushing them away from that road. Just double checking if we've got any good mismatches here, but we don't. This one is the only even battle that we have, so I decided to take it, and it doesn't go in our favor. We have to, oh, we actually lose one. Yeah, we could have avoided that by just sitting put. Yeah. Yep, another elimination there. So up to 15 points to their 3. I really need to just pass the turn here. There's no point. Nope. No. There's nothing left there. Yeah, I finally passed. Should have done that at the last activation. And now the Union has got 6 attacks left, and they're coming at us with everything they've got. Might as well just use up all the artillery markers and commit to HQ to support each one. Yep, that doesn't go well for them. Up to 18 to 3 now. And all the Union needs to do is just pass the turn here, and they would deny us a strategic win. Yeah, too far gone to try salvage the operational or tactical victory. But that is something that I have noticed regarding the strategic win conditions for pretty much all the scenarios so far. I'm still of the opinion that if you have 2 players of like equal skill level, trying to achieve the strategic win conditions are very, very difficult. I think it's very, very rare to do it. At least that's my opinion so far of all the games that I've played. I've only played against the AI, and I can only use my brain to think about what if it was an actual player, how would it go? Yeah, only be able to find out if play 2 players against each other. Yep. And that right there, this last attack here, is the last unit that's preventing our strategic win condition, and they're about to eliminate themselves. And they are gone. Yep, and that's the win. So, I'll record the Union playthrough, and that one's just a little bit more interesting. There's a little bit more maneuvers going on.